I'm Hog, this is the Dice, and I watched Iron Fist. The following contains what could charitably be called spoilers for Iron Fist. If you haven't seen it yet, then I suggest either watching Kung Fury 13 times, or having a hole drilled in your head for 13 hours straight. Either one is preferable to watching Iron Fist.
We need some action if we're gonna make it like a true survivor.
I'm going to get the racial component of the casting issue out of the way now. Other people who are smarter and more qualified than me have already addressed it, and I don't feel I have an awful lot to add. I just want to say this. The suggestion that it couldn't have been a fish out of water story if Danny Rand had been played by an Asian actor is ridiculous, considering, first of all, the differences and occasional animosity between Asians and Asian Americans, but also because it's a story about a rich, privileged child who is very suddenly orphaned and then ends up growing up in a monastery in another dimension, where the storyline of that other dimension is basically exactly the same as Mortal Kombat. It doesn't matter what ethnicity, gender, or anything that the character is, he is going to another dimension, and that other dimension is Mortal Kombat. I was prepared to give a white actor a chance in the role, but the least they could have done was A. Cast an above average actor, or B. Cast an actor with some decent martial arts experience, or C. Cast an actor who had a decent fan following. They didn't do any of these things, which must have added insult to injury for the Asian community. Okay, on to the actual review. I went into Iron Fist with some very specific expectations. I was expecting Finn Jones to not be very good as Danny Rand based on the trailers. I was expecting Jessica Henwick to be great as Colleen Wing based on the trailers. I was expecting Rosario Dawson to be incredible as Claire Temple because she is the best thing in the entire franchise. And I was expecting everything else to be pretty great, because that was the standard set by the shows so far. Finn Jones was worse than I expected, Jessica Henwick was better than I expected, Rosario Dawson continued to be a perfect, flawless gift to television, and everything else was pretty bad, actually. Let's start with Danny Rand. I'm honestly not even sure where to begin with breaking him down. From a writing perspective, he has the loosest motivations possible. His reason for going back to New York was never adequately explained, except for kind of, sort of wanting his company back, but then he didn't put up a whole lot of fuss when it was taken away from him again. He wanted to be the guardian of Kunlun for nebulous, ill-defined reasons, and then the second he got that, he left for nebulous, ill-defined reasons. And then, at the end of the show, he decides to go back to Kunlun for yet more nebulous, ill-defined reasons. And as for his characterization, it was like somebody took all of the characteristics from the inscrutable wise Asian guru trope and smashed them together with the creepy, overly friendly hippie that you meet at every music festival who has no concept of boundaries or personal space. The not really caring about having shoes, the sleeping under the tree, meditating under a tree instead of sleeping, the constant spouting of Buddhist teachings. It was like they were trying to go, how close can we get to Yellowface without actually putting on the makeup and having him do the voice? The fight sequences with Finn Jones instead of his stunt double were just bad. They were just bad. And that's not surprising, seeing as Finn Jones himself said that he only really got to practice them 15 minutes before actually filming them. That is not how you run a shoot. Especially not for a martial arts show. What the I don't want to take too much longer on this topic than I already have, because focusing on a single aspect of a project is slightly unfair. But I think it's very telling that a half-hour-long, Kickstarter-funded, direct-to-YouTube movie like Kung Fury obviously spent more time and more effort on perfecting the fight scenes of their star than a Disney-funded Netflix original series. Obviously, it's not fair to place all of the blame with Finn Jones. It's very plain that the Iron Fist directors did not give him as much time to perfect what he was doing as David Sandberg gave to himself and his stunt doubles in Kung Fury. And I think that's part of the problem, and not just with the fight scenes but with the entire show. It was all very rushed. If they wanted Finn Jones to be playing the part rather than a trained martial artist, they should have given him the time required. The rest of the show, the other aspects of the show, the scripting, the acting, the dialogue, the storyboard, it all seems similarly rushed, similarly half-assed, to be perfectly honest. As for Jones's performance, well, it was completely lacking in charisma. The only other thing I've seen Finn Jones in was Game of Thrones, where he played Loras Tyrell, another character that completely lacked in charisma. But that was fine for Loras Tyrell, because Loras Tyrell is a foppish twit that no one really liked very much, and is like this amazing tournament fighter who's never seen an actual fight, like an actual battle in his life. That made sense for playing Loras Tyrell. That was what the character was like. He didn't have any charisma. Danny Rand is supposed to have charisma. Danny Rand is supposed to be likable. He wasn't. I also deeply dislike the changes made to the role of the Iron Fist. Like giving it a role at all. Making it the Defender of Kunlun and the Destroyer of the Hand! Instead of, this is just a cool thing that a person can achieve if they manage to beat the shit out of this dragon. Felt like a really, really contrived lead into Defenders. And reeked of the prophetic hero trope, which I am sick to fucking death of. The attempts at making Danny into another dark, conflicted character when he's supposed to be the most lighthearted and fun-loving of the group also really got on my nerves. I was looking forward to seeing 3 dark, conflicted anti-heroes teaming up with a guy who got superpowers because he beat up a dragon for fun, and now he wants to fight crime with glowing kung fu fists. Surely having a more light-hearted character that could contrast with Luke, Jessica and Daredevil was the point of having Iron Fist in the Defenders rather than another dark, conflicted anti-hero like Blade or Moon Knight or the Punisher or Skullfist. And as for the Hand... What was Frank Miller's thought process? What was Frank Miller's thought process when he invented the Hand? Did he look up what the 2 most uninteresting comic book antagonists were, realize that they were zombies and ninjas, and then slam them together to make something duller than either and blander than both? The Hand wrecked Daredevil Season 2, and the episode of Daredevil Season 1 that featured the Hand was easily the worst one. The only time the Hand were ever interesting was the time they were taking disaffected youth off the streets and teaching them martial arts and giving them a sense of belonging so that they could be the shadowy army for this evil overlord guy. No, wait, that wasn't the Hand. That was the Foot Clan in the 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Huh. But I have to hand it to Iron Fist. In the last 3 episodes, they managed to do more to make the hand interesting than was achieved in an entire season of Daredevil. They did it by showing that a faction of the Hand was taking disaffected youth off the streets, teaching them martial arts and giving them a sense of belonging, so that they could be the shadowy army for a dark... oh, wait, overlord type... Wait. Let me clarify that. In order to make the Hand interesting, the writers of the Defenders franchise had to copy a storyline that was used for a parody of the Hand from a 1990s movie about 6-foot-tall turtles. I was half expecting Bakuto to turn up wearing spiky metal armor and a purple cloak and to start talking like Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And why wasn't Steel Serpent the villain? That's his symbol that's been turning up on the heroine since Daredevil Season 1. They've been teasing this character for 2 years, and then it just went, nah, this symbol is just like the Iron Fist symbol without the wings. How the Hand says fuck you to the Iron Fist. Well, you know what? When you tease the appearance of a character for 2 years with the promise of a finale featuring an intense, super-powered martial arts fucking showdown, and then you give us a finale featuring 2 guys clumsily swinging metal beams at each other on a rooftop. That's how you say fuck you to the audience. And yes, I'm aware that Davos is almost inevitably going to be Steel Serpent in Season 2, if it gets a Season 2, which I hope it doesn't. But the symbol has now been established as a hand symbol, so what's going to happen? Is he going to join the Hand so he can kill Danny because Danny didn't do a good enough job of fighting the Hand? Speaking of anticlimactic letdowns, where was the fight with the dragon? Finn Jones waxed lyrical about how this show was supposed to be for the fans and not for the critics. Well, the fight with the dragon is what all the fans wanted to see. Where was it? Just a pair of red eyes lunging out of the darkness is not enough. We want to see Danny Rand beat up a dragon. All in all, Iron Fist was the worst of the Marvel Netflix shows so far. Hopefully it gets cancelled and replaced with Daughters of the Dragon, or maybe Moon Knight. Most of the series kind of felt like the writers and directors were just killing time while they were getting ready to put in the setup they needed for Defenders. And that's a waste of a good character. Iron Fist could have been a lot better.